All right, I'm here. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. And I am live and I'm just getting my comments set up. All right, just give me a moment. Yay, I'm here. Hello, hello. And I'm just going to readjust my camera just a little bit, trying to make sure you'll be able to see everything. All right, so how's everybody doing? Today is beautiful. It is a gorgeous day. I've been outside pretty much all morning. Every time I take Moose out, I can't let Moose just out in the yard right now because there's a couple of rabbit nests, and he pulled a baby rabbit out of one of them yesterday, and I had to put it back. And I'm like, last night the mama moved all the nests around, but she stayed in the yard. I'm like, no. You need to move out of our yard, honey. But now I have to take the dog out with me, or I have to go out with the dog every time to keep him away from the rabbits. They're really small. I could put 3 of them probably on my hand. That's how small they are. Not that I did, but hi, Christy. Happy Wednesday. Oh my gosh, it already feels like it's going into the weekend for me because Steve has his first official out-of-town track event where he's teaching people how to drive on a racetrack. And so he's going out of state, and he leaves tomorrow morning, bright and early. So I've been starting to plan what I'm going to do while he's gone. I'm going to be crafting and getting I keep finding these treasures in my craft room as I purge and clean. Hi, Heather. Hello. Anyway, so today I'm using this paper and we're scrapbooking, and I decided to scrapbook today and Friday with this paper. I have been using it very sparingly so that I can make it last and hopefully use it for other things. We'll see. But let me show you what it is first. I only bought the paper pack and the sticker sheet, and it is called Homemade Sweetness, and it is number 167467, and then I don't know what the sticker sheet number is, but I have it here. Hold on. 167497 for the sticker sheet. And if you are like me, I didn't want to buy all of the stamps and dies for this because I didn't know if I would use them all. So you need the sticker sheet if you're going to scrapbook with this. Excuse me. You can tell I've been outside all day. My allergies are crazy. I take allergy medicine every day now, but as I'm getting older, I'm really sensitive to this time of year for some reason. Never was in my younger years, but now I am. Anyway, this sticker sheet is really great. It's got lots of little tabs that are great for scrapbooking. And it has a couple of big titles that are good sized enough to use on a scrapbook page. And I'm going to be probably using both, not today, but this week. The reason that I bought it has a couple of these border stickers, and I already started using them. I started cutting this apart, and then I was like, oh, I really should show this. I really should show this instead of just making stuff on my own. Okay, move things closer so that I can pile things up. The paper. The first paper is giant jars. The jars are good size. Let me get out my little ruler here so you can see. that these are like 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 for that, like that bigger jar right there. The big winner on these is, of course, the Honey Bear. And all I can say is, wow, missed opportunity, Stampin' Up, because that would have been an amazing die or stamp set or sticker on the sticker sheet. I needed like a whole bunch of honey bears, like a whole bunch of them. But didn't happen. So I've been using this paper to cut out honey bears. So that's why I have weird sizes of it left. Look at the back. It's so cool. It's got like a kind of a sponged print in red. I have cut up sheets of it because I've been using the honey bear. And then I tried to get rid of all my scraps so that you wouldn't see all my scraps. I have a lot of larger scraps left, even after doing 8 pages. So I'll show you what I cut. I already put the bases together, so we're just decorating today. But this piece has fruit all over it, and the fruit is pretty good size. Again, it's big enough if you wanted to fussy cut it, you could. I am not that happy of a fussy cutter to cut out all these little 1/2-inch blueberries and 1-inch raspberries, but you could sure do it. See, I just look at this corner right here, and it's, you know, that's a 1-inch square. So I'm just kind of holding those over the fruit so you can get an idea of how big those images are. The back is the sponged blue. See, I'm hoarding this blue. The blue and the red. Ooh, it's so pretty. And yeah, you can use a solid cardstock. You definitely want cardstock to go with this because these prints are a little bit busy, but those are solid enough to work if you don't have the cardstock. This piece is my favorite. It's just a big batch of little jars of jelly jars, and these are approximately 1 inch in size. Most of them are fit in the 1-inch block. So they're, to me, that's perfect size to cut into strips and put on a page, and that's how I use them. And the back is so cool because it looks like school paper. Oh my gosh. Now, just imagine if you had, if you have a kid in school, this would be a fun back-to-school type print to use. I think this works pretty well. There is a blue floral print, which at first I thought random, it's random. But then I realized there is definitely a direction on here, and you can see it when you turn it this way because you have your eyes. You can see that's like a vertical, and when you turn it this way, it loses that. It's definitely got some kind of weird direction to it that's, so I've been really conscious of it. It could just be the way I look at things, but, and then there's this fun graph. I think this is Strawberry Slush, and it's in a couple of different shades. I don't know about the pink for sure, but, and then there's the spoon print. Now the spoon print probably is like, you're probably like, what the heck are you going to do with that? But this is the reason I bought it, is because this reminds me of the Beauty and the Beast castle. And when we ate at the Beauty and the Beast castle, I don't know why this reminds me of that. And I think it's because they have that, gray stuff. They call it gray stuff. It's like a mousse kind of thing that's a weird color, and everybody wants to eat there so that they can try it, and I just think this will work really well on that. The back is real sweet little hearts. Again, a small enough print to almost look like a solid, but, and then there is a ladybug print. This is my least favorite, and yet when I used it, I really liked it. And so I'm like, okay. And then the back is a checker. which I love checks. The dancing spoons. I'm telling you, the spoons are fun. They're kind of fun. Okay, so I like to do all the things on my pages. I like to stamp. I like to die cut. I like to scrapbook with paper. I like everything and ink and whatever. And so this is the set that I bought. I did not buy the dies that have the giant jelly jars and things like that. But this one is really sweet because it has... This is the one I accidentally bought twice, you guys. That's why it's stuffed in here. But I accidentally bought the dies twice. It was just a stupid mistake. So there's 2 of everything on here that I'm showing you, but you only get 1 of each. But made with sweetness. I like that these are big enough for scrapbook titles or companions to a title. You know, something on the side of a picture. I really like this little floral, just to give you an idea of the size. I'll be using that Friday, I believe. And the little bee, where did I put my little, I stamped that so that you could see how cute that is. Look at that little bee and that little ladybug. Holy moly, that's cute. Cute. And they even have little dies so that you can cut them out. Look at that. You get 2 bees, 2 ladybug dies. That's why I have 4 of each, because I bought 2. I can't even believe I ever did that. But anyway, that is adorable. And then there's all this fruit, which I was playing with yesterday afternoon. I kept sending Heather pictures of the stuff that I was making because I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to use it, but I think I may try to use some of it today if I can find where I put it. So there's that. So that's really cute. And I have my stamp set out. Okay. And then the other thing I used today, it's called Help Me Grow. And I wasn't going to buy this. I'm not a gardener. I'm not someone who loves working in the yard necessarily, but I do grow a lot of flowers. And I have a very high maintenance landscape of flowers and plants. And so I'm like, I can make this work. And so that's what I'm going to do. Look at the dies for this, you guys. Actually, I cut some out for my page. So let me show you. So what I did was I cut out a whole bunch of the little pots in Cajun Craze. And then I used Cajun Craze ink to ink blend the edges. And I think that makes them look more rounded. And that's like, you know how there's a light and a dark side to the 12 by 12? There's the light and there's the dark. And so I did one on the light and one on the dark, just so you could see the difference. And just that alone gives one more of a shading than the other. Like if you wanted to put this on a card or something, and you put this one behind this one, it already has some shading to it, just doing that. You wouldn't have to ink blend if you didn't really want to, right? So that's that. And then there's these little pieces in here, right here, that I thought they were greenery, and I cut a whole bunch of them in different colors of green. And then I cut some in white because then I was like, well, maybe they're supposed to be daisies. I'm not really sure, but they work for both. So I cut them in both colors. Some flowers. I cut all kinds of greenery. I did take a little bit of like garden green and just sort of shaded over some of these. So you'll see that it gives it a little dimension by shading, just a little. And then I keep a pocket in my stamp set. These are I got these secondhand. That's why this is on here. It's not called Forever Blossoms, but I haven't figured out how to remove that yet. I probably should use Goo Gone or something. But I just put my extra pieces in here, and look at that. So the dies cut just the sharp edge and then just the handle, and you glue them together and you end up with like a cool gardening tool. And there's all the gardening tools. There's a spade, and you can see this one, I cut the handle down shorter just to see how that would look. And I don't know, they're just kind of fun. I just made a bunch. This is that Lunar Lustre paper. It's like, it's their specialty paper right now that's, it's silver but not shiny, and yet it looks metallic. I would call it a metallic looking paper. It's hard to describe, but it's really nice. Okay. Holy moly. Okay, let's get started. Oh, and I just want to show you really quick. One of the dies in that Help Me Grow set cuts this border. Now you can cut that border on any size of strip of paper. If you had a 4-inch strip of paper and you ran it through, it would only put that at the top of the strip. And so I cut strips in like a whole bunch of different sizes, and I thought it would be, and I double mine. I often double my papers to put them through. So what happens is one has a super sharp cut or imprint, and the other one is lighter, but it still looks good and it saves me time. And I thought it would be kind of nice to be able to layer them. I just put scraps through, you know, like if you were making a card or something and you wanted to do different layers. I also ink blend on top of those. So you will see that in just a sec. All right, let me get rid of this. And let's start the scrapbook pages because, man, it's been 15 minutes. I've been yapping and showing you stuff. Okay, so I thought I wasn't going to show this. That's why so much of it is done already. But in some ways, it saves a lot of time. And so I'm like, whatever. Okay. Let me just move a few things. Okay, so this is my first 2-page spread. My idea on this, let me see. I want to make sure you can see everything. Okay, yeah, that's better. I think the idea here was that I could just use strips and scraps of paper and plaster this with photos. So here's a 4x6, a 4x6, and then I could have just cut a big strip of paper here. But what I did was I put a 4x4 here, 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 and here. Okay. And then this is like a 3x4. And so what I basically ended up doing, that's like, I got something on there. Basically, I ended up making it so that I could put almost any size of photo on here that I wanted. And I have photos from last year that I could use, but I think I'm going to save this for this year. And see, I could totally put, I made it my sticker border so that I could tuck this under. I could put a 4x6 under here. Instead, I could go vertical with a 4x6 here. Like, I don't have to stick with these sizes if I don't want to. The idea was then, so this red paper that I've been hoarding that has the little sponge stuff on it, I used my biggest hunk of it right here, and I basically cut it like, well, I'll tell you, 7 by 9. 9 by 7, I used it as a mat for my photos. Then over here, this is just a little 1/4-inch strip at the top and a 1/4-inch strip at the bottom. And that's all I used on this page. It looks like I used more, but just that. And then I had a lot left over. And then on the top, I used like a 1¼ inch strip of the little butterflies. And this is like a 12-inch strip. And I cut it down at about the 4 3/4 mark. So this has about 4 3/4, and then the rest I put over there, and I made it into like a little flag. And I was gonna use another little strip on there just for just something to separate my sticker border from my ladybugs. I think I keep calling them butterflies, ladybugs. And so I used a whole bunch of this greenery in different colors as a border. Instead of using a scrap of cardstock, I tucked in a whole bunch of little pieces of this, the plants in different colors. I just think that looks like a nice transition between the two. And then I used my sticker border and one of the bigger flower stickers. Now, the big bonus part here is the bottom, because what I did was I took like 1-inch strips of, crumb cake, I think. Yeah. Let me look at the back. Is that, I can't remember. It's crumb cake. I'm pretty sure it's crumb cake. Might be pecan pie. I'm not good with my colors. I think it's crumb cake. We'll see. Anyway, I cut 1-inch strips of that, and I sponged ink all over them. Do you see? I blended some ink on there. And then do you see that little dotted section that's on here? That I stamped that. And oh my gosh, that is from... This is from Rolling Waves, and it's that right there. I think it's supposed to be like sea foam, you know, or it could be sand. Could be sand. But anyway, that's what I used. And I just dotted that all over the place. I'm always looking for those texture types of stamps. And look how cool that ended up looking. I think that ended up adding to that really well. It just makes it look irregular and like dirt. So I made the border. I should have just left it a 12-inch piece, but I used my scraps out of my scrap bin. That's why there's a split there. It doesn't bother me, but if you want to recreate this, you might want to use a full 12-inch piece. I'm like, nobody's going to care about this but me. And then I did the same thing over here, see? Instead of using, I just had a whole bunch of these 6-inch scraps in my scrap bin, and so I just used them. And some are darker, some are lighter. And then what I did was I glued these on my page, and I only glued the very bottom of the, so see, there's tuckability there. I can tuck things in. So that's my plan, is to tuck. And guess what I'm going to tuck? So over here, I tucked in the spade, the shovel, trowel. There's the word, trowel. See, I'm not a gardener. And then I went ahead and put a couple of my pots here, one on the light side, one on the dark side. Do you see that? How that makes it like a shadow or a shade? And then, of course, I just added some of the flowers and greenery coming out. I even added a little scrap right there of dirt because it looked weird with nothing there. And then the white is gel pen. You'll be happy to know that in the new catalog, Stampin' Up! Is going to have their own gel pens. And I'm really glad because I am getting to the end of my gel pen. I am going to be running out very soon. And I was starting to look around online for new gel pens, and so I'm really happy. I ordered the Stampin' Up ones on my first pre-order because I'm like, oh, I go through them like crazy. I use them on everything. Okay, so on this side of the page, we're just going to, let's just tuck a few things in. I'll show you, like, I didn't just use it as is. Of course you could. There's no reason you couldn't. But I kind of like the idea of cutting some pieces and tucking them in. And, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. The main thing is if you get over your photo, like over here, make sure you don't put glue so that you can tuck your photo in there. When you've got your photo ready, you know, you want to be able to tuck that under there. Sorry, I've got stuff falling off my table. And then I'm just gonna keep adding pieces here and there. The other thing I did is I did like the light side and the dark side. So what I like to do is I like to take two scraps of paper, one this way and one this way, and put them on top of each other and run it through. And then when it comes out, you end up with a light and a dark. And some of them aren't as deeply etched or whatever as others, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Anyway, maybe I'll just put that one in whole. And just tuck them in. So I have, now these little pieces right here, I told you I thought they were leaves. It's possible they're flowers. I'm really not sure. But what I think looks cool with these is that when you tuck them in, they do kind of look like something just starting, right? They look like starts to your plants. So I thought that was kind of neat. Like if you're, planting vegetables or something, you know how things just start coming up? That's what I was thinking. All right. I'm looking for dark. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. Just like that. I don't know what these would be. To me, this kind of looks like a carrot top or something. But I think technically these flowers that you cut fit really nicely on here. And it just makes it into filler, you know? It's just filler. It's okay. Use it any way you want. If you're like me, I'm not a real gardener anyway. I just need the green, right? I just want it to look good. So, and this one I accidentally cut off the edge, and it's like, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. It's still usable, but let's see. Put that in there. I think this looks really good, and you can add as much detail to this as you want. You could add flowers to the top. Look at that. See, it really does look like a flower. You can't say that doesn't look like flower. Right? I mean, I could put flowers on there. The other thing I made is the little markers, and I think I'm going to put a couple of markers in. Now They have an innie and an outie, an outline that you could do in silver or black, and then an inside that, but I just made them all white because I'm just going to write on there. I'm not getting fancy here, people. I'm not getting out my stamps and stamping words, although you sure could if you got little bitty ones, little tiny alphabets. My handwriting isn't that bad. I'm okay with it saying onions or zinnia or whatever I want to put on there. And I'm going to make this one over just a little. This one's, I didn't put adhesive on this side. Isn't that cute? Look at that. That is sweet. I just love it. And so, yeah. So this is how I did my border at the top, and it may seem a little too futzy, but just remember that this will be one of those scrapbooking pages that you look at and you'll remember what you did to make it, and it'll be special, right? I mean, it'll always be kind of special. And then I think I'm going to add one of the tools to the mix here over here. See, I could cover up that little line. I don't know. Make it lay partially in the dirt. And that would cover your photo just a little, but that's okay. I did that on the right-hand page also. But I just think that is really, really cute. And I don't know where you want to put it. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but I am going to put one on. Okay, and then for the top, I did not make a title because not sure yet what I want my title to be. I went round and round. I am likely to do this, these pages based on pictures I take when we plant our flowers, likely. Sorry, I had to move my camera again. So I just think this is really sweet, and I think the gardener people, oh, I like that. I like it over here. Is that too weird that it's balanced? Maybe that's why I like it, is because it's balanced. I'm just going to put a little bit over here. See, I made everything tuckable. After my pictures are in place, I can always put a little glue dot or a little tear and tape or something adhesive on the back of those. But right now, they're tuckable for my photo. So, I'll be able to tuck down behind it. I like it. Okay, so I really like this a lot. And as I look at my different stickers, and I like these different words a lot, I want to use this gold. And you know what? This is not my favorite color for this, but it works out really well for the rest. I used a sticker here for my journaling, and I used one of the little ladybugs here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this up here. I thought about putting it here like a little, today's highlights, and then that's where you journal. But I like it there. And look at all of the different little ladybugs I still have. And so I can totally add a few more of those stickers. Or I could even add some of the little stamped ones or the bees, but I like how this looks, and I left enough room right here for another photo, some more journaling, a title, whatever you want, right? And I really like how this looks. I think it's hard for me to not put gems on a page, but I think I do have some that are this weird color of gold yellow that I think would be really nice on here. The other thing that I like to do whenever I use ladybugs or butterflies or whatever is I like them to have like a path, like they're moving, right? So it's hard to see, I know, but so that they have like a little path that they're flying, and then like here the wings are open, and sometimes if you just put a couple little lines, it makes it look like it's in motion. Do you see that? So that's my thought on that. Okay, ta-da. All right, let me just, I look like I froze. Did I freeze on you guys? I think it's just my computer. All right, let's do the next page, and I'll just keep going until y'all tell me that I'm all frozen up. Okay, let me just move some things off of here so that I can show you the base page. So here's my second base page. And I think my computer froze up. Hold, please. I'm going to have to reboot my computer, I think. I don't know why that did that, but I'll be fetzing with that for a few minutes. So this is my base page, and basically, you know, I really like it when my pages have a outside border. And this is Secret C, I think. Hold on. It might be Misty Moonlight. I'm getting my colors mixed up, you guys. Wow. Hold on. I went through this yesterday. I was showing Heather, and she's like, I was complaining that my colors weren't matching up. It is Misty Moonlight. It's not Secret C. What's wrong with me? And you can see I use the dark side. That's the light side. There you go. And then here's my spoons. Do you see? So I cut the white base into 11 by 11 so that I would have a 1/2 inch border all around. And so I did one on the left page and the right page. And then my biggest chunk is my mixed berry jars and stuff. And it is cut 6 by, I think I cut it about 6 by 8. And then I covered it up just a little bit. But if you really want to skimp, you could cut it, 6 by 7 3/4 or so. And so then I have 2 big strips of the spoons. And notice that you have to pay attention to which way your spoons are going. And I liked using the spoons on this because I liked the blue. I liked how that really looked on there. Hold on, I'm rebooting my Facebook. It like locked down on me or something. All right, there we go. Okay, now I can see, not frozen. See, it was just me. I'm sorry. This time of day, I feel like sometimes my technical stuff is weird. Okay, so this is the problem with not having a Mac. I need a Mac. Okay, this piece is 11.5, and then I cut it into a flag. The hearts is about 10.5, and I cut it into a flag. I actually cut this too short, and I had to piece it together because I was like, oh, it's too short. And so I just used this scrap. And then this is 10.25, and the hearts are about 9. And I just kind of put those on. And then this strip right here is a full 12-inch strip. Notice it, I made it cover the borders, the blue borders and everything. And it is 1.5 inches wide. So now you have a base, and you can do that on any paper pack you want. Just play around with, the reason I'm telling you the dimensions of my paper and the sizes is that I could grab a totally different paper pack and do the same layout. I just change the decoration, right? This, these I glued on, but these are all 3x4s. But this, I wasn't sure. Will I have a vertical, horizontal? I'm not really sure. But what I was thinking was a play on words, sweet, you know, something sweet. I don't do anything like that. So what I did was I took those giant party alphabets, these giant alphabets, party alphabet dies. And sorry, I don't know the number, Heather. Heather's been making a list for me of all of our numbers so that when I go on Facebook, I can make a list. Anyway, I cut these in white and I cut these in Misty Moonlight. And then I was thinking, I want this to say Sweet Life Together. And then it can be every day, right? It is Strawberry Slush. Yep. So I stamped that word sweet from my stamp set in 2 different colors. Remember this one? Sweet. Look how big that is. It's a good size. So that's a good size for a scrapbook page, you know. And I wasn't sure which would look better, so I cut it in 2 colors. I could have it say sweet, sweet life. Anyway, for the word life, the reason I cut it in 2 colors was if I just put it in the blue, it kind of gets lost with the blue behind it. And then if I just do it in white, it looks very stark. And I was kind of like, okay, let's shadow these. So I could shadow these in white like this, right? Or I could shadow them the other way where the blue is like the shade, right? And so you just got to play around with the whatever way you like it to be. And I'm not sure. Otherwise, they would have been glued together already. But I'm not sure. Tell me what you like better. Here's the white. I think I like the blue on the top. But yeah, I think I like the blue on the top. Now that I'm looking at it. So what I'm going to do, and I won't make you sit and watch me, but I basically just put glue on here on each of the letters and put them together like this. And then when they're dry, I put them on, right? All right. So you get the drift. I don't think I need to do all of that on camera for you to see it, but I am going to flip them around a little bit so that you can. So then I have Sweet Life. And I thought about having that cross over just a little bit. So I think I like that one. And then I stamped the other stamp from this set. There's a lot of words on here. You know, lovely day for a picnic. In the garden for baking, as can be. Sweet as can be, cute as can be. So very cute, so very sweet. Sweet together, cute together, or just together, which is what I did. And then I'm just going to pop that up. I just think that's really, really nice. Now, my thought was I want to use some of the jelly jars. Look at the jelly jars. Sweet Life Together. And I have this jelly jars paper. I think this is really cute. And I thought, wouldn't this be really sweet to use? All right, quit sticking. I don't know why I dropped that on there. But, you know, like on the edge of my photo, I could even balance it a little and put the blueberries down here. And then if you'll notice on the sticker sheet, there are a couple of blueberries, a couple of raspberries, there's a strawberry, a blackberry. I mean, a lemon wedge. So you could use all 3 jelly jars and with the little berries. And then you could even use one of the spoons, you know, in the background. Really sweet. And then I started playing with that fruit yesterday. Oh my gosh. Now these are the dies. I'm going to lay them out on a piece of white cardstock just so you can see what they look like, because holy moly are they cute. Okay. I was just playing, cutting them different ways. When you cut the strawberry, there is one that goes on top that has holes. Thank you, Sharon. I agree. Blue on top. And then there's a background that you can cut in a different background. And the reason I was bugging Heather yesterday was because I didn't remember, like, aren't strawberry seeds white? I can't. I had eaten all my strawberries. I didn't have one to look at. And then I was like looking on the internet. I'm like, this is so stupid. What color should I make them? So what I did was I used a yellow, and it was so bright and so bold that I blended it with brown just to try to make strawberry seeds that looked more realistic. But look at those berries, you guys. Those are cool. Now, when you compare that to the sticker, look. The dies win. They're both great. Oh, look, here they made them pink. I don't know. I don't think they're pink. I don't know. And then I had made some lime wedges. I had a lot of green in my scraps. That's why there's so many limes. And then I made some lemon wedges. And you can see there's 2 pieces to these dies. So there's a background that has the little lines. And then the outside is just the little outline piece. So I did 1 light and 1 dark. And just for kicks, I shaded some of my fruit. Like, this was done in like the poppy red. I think it was poppy, yeah. The poppy red, and then I shaded it with poppy red. So I just did it like a tone-on-tone shading. So it looks more dimensional. Do you see that? That is adorable. And then the leaves are separate, which drives me a little crazy because I wasn't sure how to hook them on there. That is a very skinny die. And so my leaves look a little weird, but that's okay because I'm going to make them crisscross like this. I think I'm going to do this. Right? I think if I put them with this L and crisscross just a little bit and pop that up, I think that'll look really cool. I love it. I love it. All right, let me show you my other fruit. So I tried to make cantaloupe, but they're so out of size with the other. These are so tiny compared to these. Like, this is a bite, and this would be a whole wedge, and so it wasn't quite right. But I did try. And then I made a whole bunch of blueberries because hello. Now this, I cut out of the same paper, what is it, Misty Moonlight, and I shaded it with brown. It doesn't look like brown, but when you shade onto blue, you got to use black or something super dark for it to show. It does look like cantaloupe, but if you put it next to a peach, it would be really weird. Anyway, I love these blueberries. And then, hold on, let me show you. There's one next to the sticker. So, not bad. The stickers look real. The stickers look great. But the dies, once you use the dies, they're just so, they're not watercolored. They're bold. But, you know, you could use some blueberries down by the blueberry jar. I have that off camera just a little bit. Sorry. Let me scooch over so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, and then I made a few blackberries. I didn't like the color that I used. I think I need to use darker, but what I did on this one is I tried the dark side of the paper and the light side of the paper. I'm not sure I accomplished this one very well. And I tried to put my white gel pen on to make it look glossy. I think in a group of fruit, this would look fine. I don't know. By itself, it looks a little weird. But I think if I had it like a whole bunch of fruit together, I think that blackberry would look just fine, right? Look at that. Oh my gosh, I could do a total border of fruit. Ha! That would be so fun. Okay, and then my favorite, it took me forever to figure out how to make peaches. Holy cow, it was hard. I used every different color I could think of. I ink blended. I just couldn't seem to make it look right, but these look good. Blackberry Bliss, yeah. I can't remember what color those blackberries were. I thought I used Blackberry Bliss, but it didn't look right. I think I need to use the solid of it. Like like this was the two. I don't think that was right. This might have been grape or something. I don't know what I used, but that does not look like the same color at all. That could have been an old close to my heart eggplant. I've been trying really hard to use up my scraps, and so it's possible I just grabbed something purple. Yeah, I used the wrong color. Anyway, these ended up being pretty in pink. No, peach, not peach pie. What is that color? Oh my gosh, my guys, the colors do not just come to me. I think I used peach pie. There, that's it, petal pink. I used petal pink for the peach, and I just cut everything out, and then on the rind, I ink blended a little bit of watermelon slush and peach pie. And then on the peach itself, I ink blended a little peach pie. I'm moving this really close. I hope it's in where you can see what I'm talking about. I think it looks pretty good. It took me a while to figure it out. Good God. Thank you, Sharon. See, I need people like you to be shouting out the colors for me, because these colors do not just roll off of my tongue. I have to really think hard, especially the pinks. The pinks and the purples. I just don't have them yet. But anyway, there you go. There's my fruit. Don't you think this whole layout right here, It would look really cool with a whole bunch of fruit at the bottom. I could do the, I could leave the limes off. I don't know about that green, but I'm gonna do that later. I'm not gonna do it on camera right now. But see, like, you know, you get this out, you put this on, and you put the strawberries or the lemons, the little lemon wedge, or you could just use the fruit. I think that these would be really cute on a card, and I have so much paper left that I could use my die cut fruit on here and use, yeah. I think this turned out perfect. So this is what I have for you today. So a couple of different bases for scrapbooks. I'm going to do the same thing Friday. I have 2 bases using the cut paper. And then we're going to decorate using different die cuts and stamp sets that I really have been wanting to show you. And I have been wanting to make. And yeah, these are the stickers I have left. I am going to use several of these. I think actually, let me see what I had for this one. I was thinking on that one to use Remember This or Happiness is Here as one of the little subtitles on my, it would be really easy to tuck this up here, right? Remember This. And it helps to balance that blue again. And the Happiness is Here looks really nice on here too, you know, as down here. Yeah, probably right here. That would look nice. That would balance the red a little more or add a little red. So whatever you know, all of it coordinates. That's the cool part. I'm going to put that there. I like it just like that. And I think I may stamp a few of the little bees. Now, the other stamps in this set, I don't know why there's tiny, tiny little strawberries and stems. And there's tiny, tiny, I mean, you saw how small that little ladybug and bee are. So those blueberries are little. They are little. So I suppose you could make your own, I don't know, basket full of something. Or they might be okay. I think they'd be way too small for, I'm not sure why these are the size they are. I need to look around and see what other people are doing with this set to determine why these are so small. Because even if I put them in a flower pot on the other thing, that doesn't work, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm not certain about this. And it may be that they go with something in that jam set that I did not get. I just have to look. I just need to look around and see. Anyway, I love this. And I hope you do too. Teeny tiny fruit. That's right. They're very, very small. I suppose, you know, they probably would work if you did a fussy cut here. That might work. Hold on a minute. Like if you fussy cut one of these little jars. Oh yeah, look at that. That would probably be the right size to go with these jars. That's probably it. Well, you saw how much paper I have left. You get a couple of sheets of everything, and I easily had at least one sheet of everything left, even after doing all 4. And the only thing that I added, I'll show you on Friday, I added one of the mix-in papers because I loved the color of it. And so I just wanted to add it, and I'll show you that on Friday. And I think that's it, everybody. I hope you love it. Let me know what you think. I really not want to know. See, it'll be perfect. It looks like a lot of red until you put your photos on place. And then you're like, oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, have a fabulous day. And I will see you again on Friday. And I'll probably, Steve will be gone, so I won't be in a big hurry on Friday. And if you decide you want to see something else in more detail, just shoot me a message. Bye.